How's it going today, everyone? It's Learn123 again. Thanks for watching. Click that subscribe button in the bottom right of your screen if you haven't yet. And today we are going to talk about the Sig 556xi, which I wondered why they didn't just call it the Sig 762, because that's kind of a confusing name because it actually takes AK-47 mags. Most of them anyway. It can have, it's rumored to have some problems with different brands. We've never had a jam with these European, Yugoslavian type mags. And so first let's talk about some of the features and history of this rifle, and then I'll show you how to field strip it. So these come stock, pretty well made, tighter tolerances than AKs it seems. It has this telescopic folding stock as well, so kind of a double threat there. That's awesome. It's got these strap lugs built into it, though we actually use this sling mount here. And to fold the stock, you just press this button right here. Okay, snaps right into place. Everything's solid. Love this weapon. We actually traded an old horse trailer for it. I think it was a good trade. And then what keeps the stock in place, you might see these notches here and here, and this button here, this lug, that will actually snap into place and hold that stock where it's supposed to be. I wouldn't fire it folded though. Comes with this awesome red dot sight, by the way. I love it. They're pretty high dollar too. So here's our controls. Our fire selector, as you can see, horizontal is on safe. You see the little S for safe, and then fire. Okay. We've got this nice muzzle brake here. The first thing we do to field strip any weapon is to remove the magazine and ensure that the chamber is without round. See, there's no round in the chamber right there. Okay, so just leave the bolt carrier assembly forward, flip the weapon over, and press in on these takedown pins. Really, just a field strip, you only need to take this one out. And they are captive pins, so they don't come all the way out. And then it rocks forward. You can get everything out in this condition. That's important when you're putting it back together, that you make sure this charging handle is all the way in, so it's retaining and connecting this bolt carrier assembly with the guide rod and mainspring in here. And I'm doing another video about a serious safety issue with this weapon. Please check that as well and learn and know your gun. So to remove the charging handle, we push down on this button here, pull it out. We bring the bolt carrier assembly all the way back, taking note of how the bolt has to be oriented to re-enter. And then it's just a standard AK style bolt. You can rotate it right out. So that's cool. We can take a look at the guts in the lower receiver and see that it's very similar to an AK. See that? The double wound springs. See the trigger hook down there? Okay. And this really has a sweet trigger. I love the trigger on this weapon. So let's get that cocked back and put this stuff back together. Now, another thing to note is that this is why your charging handle has to go all the way through, is it has to catch that guide rod and mainspring assembly lock right there. And if you don't, the safety issue is that bolt carrier is going to come out the back of this receiver through this plastic stock and take your face out. So make sure that you reassemble this weapon properly Let's note our rails here. Bolt face goes in first, and the whole carrier assembly goes forward. Then we have to reconnect the bolt carrier assembly to that guide rod lock that's sticking through here. And so just reverse the process, press down on this, stick that charging handle back in, and you may even give it a slight push up here. You may have to get your charging handle back through. Give it some good force, and that is how far it's supposed to stick out if it's safe. Now, something that we actually fired it with it not sticking all the way in. It was about that much further out, and if this had come off, whoever was shooting this rifle would have had a bad day. Now you can completely remove the lower receiver by popping this pin as well, and you just press down here, and it'll just pull right out of there. Now they beefed up this area here where the mags come in and wear and tear on it. Okay. We've also got what appears to be a little bolt catch as well, so that's cool. Slide release, bolt release. And so to put it back together, you actually have a little guiding notch machined in right here that will help you get your front pin into the front pin hole. But it can be a chore sometimes. Oh, that was pretty easy. Okay, so now all this is retained. You see how that's under spring pressure? One way to check for safety reasons, if you have not reassembled your bolt carrier and your guide rod, or your recoil piston you might call it, and spring assembly, main spring assembly, is that if you pull back on this, it will not return under spring pressure if this is not properly connecting those two main assemblies. So now let's put it back together. And this easily adjustable trigger screw, though I would not mess with that unless you know exactly what it does. And if anyone has any questions, I will happily cover that in a later video.